The U.S. Department of Homeland Security says they're buying properties in Chicago to double down their law enforcement efforts as you've got increased assaults against federal law enforcement and a facility for processing people here allegedly illegally being in Illinois, but there's no ICE detention facilities. How's this going to work out? It's Illinois in Focus Daily with you each and every weekday morning. I'm Greg Bishop. Happy Friday. So yesterday, of course, in the previous segment, we talked about the National Guard and how a temporary restraining order was issued. And the Trump administration is appealing that ruling, all happening yesterday. The reaction to that obviously continues. Governor J.B. Pritzker does have a news event later on this morning, and it's expected he will take some off-topic questions. But some other things happening. Of course, not just the use of the National Guard for public safety coming into question as the federal judge made that ruling yesterday. You have another ruling in the Broadview area, and that's the village outside of Chicago that has a Immigration Customs Enforcement processing center. It's not where they keep them to then deport them. They get processed and then sent to another ICE facility. The Trust Act in Illinois, it's, of course, the measure that says you can't cooperate with federal law enforcement. That was signed by Governor Bruce Rauner, a Republican. But then it was enhanced with a Way Forward Act, which went further and said that you cannot contract as a public entity to Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials to house detainees. So a county jail can't use their facilities to contract with ICE to house detainees while they get processed and ultimately sent to the country of origin or wherever they get deported. So how does the Department of Homeland Security handle this if they can't go to a county jail, say in Lake County or even in Cook County, and say, hey, we've got 5 illegal aliens that we need to house. Can we use your jail? Here's some money. That used to happen before a Way Forward Act, but after that happened, that was cut off. So how is Immigration and Customs Enforcement going to continue their enforcement of immigration if they don't have those facilities in Illinois? So you can see how the state law is impacting federal immigration enforcement in the state of Illinois. But around the Broadview facility, you've seen some, conflicts. Illinois State Police are there. They've got a fence all around the facility. And state police are there trying to maintain order. You had Broadview issue an executive order earlier this week saying that protests can only happen between 9 in the morning and 6 in the evening. And again, state police there helping keep the peace. And also allowing for people to get in and out of that ICE facility in Broadview. But Broadview had a problem with the fence that DHS put up, and they put out this statement this morning. A federal judge has approved the Village of Broadview's motion for a temporary restraining order requiring the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency dismantle the illegally built fence on a public street in front of the ICE processing center in Broadview. It must be dismantled by today. The district judge issued that TRO Thursday. The fence was built by ICE September 23rd. Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson said this is a validation of a local law and, most importantly, a decisive win for public safety. The judge's decision confirms that the illegal fence constructed by ICE is not only a clear defiance of Broadview's ordinance, but an unacceptable and escalating risk to our Beach Street businesses, their customers, and our first responders. The law of probability dictates that the danger increases daily. The court has spoken clearly and unequivocally. Now it remains to be seen if ICE will respect the judge's order and dismantle this hazard immediately, or if they will continue their pattern of defiance. So again, that's a statement from the Broadview mayor about a judge ruling that ICE has to take the fence down around their facility. But ICE has been highlighting the dangers that their agents are facing. Here's a headline from the Department of Homeland Security. They condemn dangerous doxing and escalating threats against federal law enforcement officers. Following a weekend of domestic terrorist attacks, they say, and that links back to a news release about the Broadview conflicts. Against federal law enforcement, the Department of Homeland Security is calling on sanctuary politicians and the media to tone down their rhetoric about U.S. immigration and customs enforcement law enforcement. Our officers are facing more than 1,000% increase in assaults against them, and their families are being doxxed and threatened online. So they talk about harassment at home, direct threats to families, and so on, including some messages that get pretty problematic. So you can see some of the other things they're highlighting, the mock hangings of faux ICE officers. So if you haven't gotten to the DHS news release page, search that and you'll be able to stay up to date on that as well. But they also shared some video from a recent attack they say happened. This is from the Department of Homeland Security's X page yesterday. Aurora, Illinois, a violent lunatic just attacked members of our federal law enforcement, launching rocks at their vehicle. He's now been arrested. No one's above the law. Under Secretary Noem, if you lay a hand on law enforcement, you will face consequences. We're not playing. And you can see this video here. Somebody smashing a window and being chased down by police. So DHS says that's what law enforcement are having to deal with on a regular basis. And how are they supposed to, take care of enforcing federal law if they have to fight through those types of things? So DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, taking part in the White House cabinet meeting yesterday, shared this with President Donald Trump.
You have talked extensively about how threatened our ICE officers are, but all of our law enforcement out there. And we saw the shooting in Dallas at that facility, so we're hardening all of our buildings and making sure that we have more security measures, snipers on the roof, people to protect our law enforcement while they're out there on the streets. But what I'm also doing, sir, is, and with your authority, is we're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're going to not back off. In fact, we're doubling down, and we're going to be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there. And then I was there a few days ago and looked at some facilities that we can deploy more law enforcement out of, because what they're trying to do with these riots and violence is distract us and keep us from going after those murderers and rapists that are out on the streets.
So Noem saying they're going to buy more federal property in Chicago to have ICE offices to continue conducting federal law enforcement there. Again, in a state that doesn't allow local governments and other non-federal state-owned properties to use their property for contracting with ICE for immigration detainment and processing. So the feds are going to have to go out and buy their own buildings and get those set up to where they can have the operations moving forward. While the concerns about what people are calling federal overreach are obviously there, and we've heard those, look at the other side, and those who are saying we need federal law enforcement on immigration because leaving it unchecked leads to human trafficking and abuse and all kinds of other just horrifying crimes against people, and you need to crack down on that. But in a jurisdiction where it's a migrant sanctuary policy of not cooperating with local federal law enforcement by not allowing for jail beds at a county jail, which, with the Safety Act and no cash bail, the jails there's some vacancies. So do we just leave those empty and not cooperate with federal law enforcement? Something that obviously is going to continue to track out as we cover it with the Center Square here with Illinois in Focus Daily. All right, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we break things down for you to know as you get your day going. And don't forget, you can get the weekend edition. Jim Talamonte and I break down the arguments made in court about the federal judge issuing a temporary restraining order. You got the best of all of it. Again, just subscribe to Illinois in Focus Daily here each and every weekday morning with the Center Square.